Hey everybody. So just one video today. I've not had a lot of time recently to do stuff, but this is way too big of news for me to not do anything on. We finally have news on the Erik Karlsson front. There's been reports today that with training camp getting closer and the NHL season getting closer, Erik Karlsson talks between the Senators and other teams have started to ramp up again, and certainly nothing I don't think is imminent or going to happen, like tonight or tomorrow or anything, but teams are actively talking with Ottawa again, and this is the first time we've really heard anything about Karlsson in a number of weeks. Everything involving him had really died down, and it's just starting to pick up again. Karlsson's been a guy that we've wondered and been expecting something to happen for, since at least the trade deadline last season. So, this has been a long, drawn-out process, and these Karlsson trade talks have been going on for quite a while now, and they could continue to go on for at least a few more months. So, really don't know when anything is going to happen, but the reports on hockey internet today have been that Ottawa is, talks have really ramped up with, very recently about Erik Karlsson, and Ottawa wants to send him to a Western Conference team. So that's what they're hoping to do. And the team that I saw mentioned online that really took me by surprise and that I haven't seen mentioned in these sweepstakes at all up to this point is the Vancouver Canucks. The report today was that Vancouver is interested, and that they've begun to think about possibly getting in on the Erik Karlsson sweepstakes. So that's a new team that hasn't really been talked about up to this point. And I'm trying to think of what a deal with Vancouver would look like for Ottawa. You've got to think that Vancouver is not going to be moving Brock Besser. I think he's probably off the table. I don't know exactly Vancouver's situation as far as prospects go and who are high-end prospects in there. You've got to think that Ottawa wants at least one high-end prospect, at least one first-round pick. Whatever this deal is going to be, it's going to be massive. I'm not sure who Vancouver would move to Ottawa to make this deal happen, because I would think that Brock Besser is not an option. I really would hope and think that really no matter who you got in return, unless it's like Connor McDavid, that Vancouver's not going to move Besser. So it would probably have to be someone else, and probably multiple other people and multiple other draft picks. But it's just interesting that Vancouver has not really been mentioned at all to this point, and now they've been mentioned today as a team that's really upped their interest in Erik Karlsson. So I really don't know much beyond that. I don't know, exactly how far into talks teams are, what teams are talking, what teams aren't, other than Vancouver has been listed as a team that's interested. What I do know is that Erik Karlsson is not going to sign a long-term deal in Ottawa, and that Ottawa, I don't think, is stupid enough to just let him walk in free agency next summer. So between now and next summer, July 1 of next summer, Erik Karlsson is going to get traded somewhere. I certainly would expect it to be sooner rather than later as far as during this season. They could wait till the trade deadline, although I think the longer this goes, the less leverage Ottawa has in the trade market. If this goes down to being a deadline deal, Ottawa just doesn't have trade leverage anymore, or to ask for as much as they could possibly get for him, because then they're faced with the potential of getting nothing for him, because everybody knows that Erik Karlsson is going to walk come July 1 if he gets that far. Everybody in the world knows that Erik Karlsson is not re-signing in Ottawa. So Ottawa is at the point now where they have to trade him or they're going to lose him for nothing. That gives a lot of leverage to the other teams, because they know that Ottawa has to get rid of him, and Ottawa is better off getting something in return. Even if it's not the most in return, it's better than getting nothing. So Erik Karlsson is going to get moved, and the longer this goes on, the less leverage Ottawa has in the trade market. Because as this goes on longer and longer, teams are just going to go, you know what, we'll just wait until January and just sign, or January. We'll wait till July and just sign them for nothing. So if I'm the Senators, I am trying to get this deal done before the start of the season, because that is probably when you're going to get the most in return for Karlsson. If this goes into next season, just as the weeks go on, his value and their trade leverage just gets lower and lower. And if this goes all the way to the deadline, you're at a point where Ottawa has to move him, and they're just going to take a deal for him, or they're going to have to just take something in return. On the other hand, that could cause a massive bidding war at the trade deadline, and that would be Ottawa's dream come true. That would be their best hope. At that point, would be a bidding war between 2 or 3 teams who just keep upping offers until the offer would be absolutely massive. But Erik Karlsson has been on the trade market for almost a full year now, and no one's made a deal yet. So that tells me that nobody wants him that badly. Nobody seems to be willing to give up a ton and an absolute haul in return for him, or else a deal would have been done by now. So nobody seems to want him that badly, which means I doubt that teams are going to get in a bidding war over him right at the deadline. They're going to say, you know what, we're fine without him, and we're just going to move on now. And if we can come back to this in July when free agency hits and get a chance to pitch an offer and maybe sign him, then we'll do that. But we're not going to give up our entire farm system or a bunch of draft picks for this guy. We don't want him that badly, because if a team wanted him that badly, I think a deal would have been done by now. So that's pretty much all I've got. We've got Erik Karlsson talk again, and I think we're going to be talking about Erik Karlsson until probably into training camps, and then if a deal's not done by then, it might die down again. I think there's a good chance that he gets moved before we stop talking about him again. But this is the first time in weeks that we've heard anything on the Karlsson front, so this was way too important not to do a video on. So basically, Karlsson talks are ramping back up, and Vancouver's a team that's been mentioned in the mix. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Where does Karlsson go? When does Karlsson get moved? Let me know what you guys think. And like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. Check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links in the description below. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.